Hey, what's everybody? It's Mr. Kinsey here. I got in front of me a 1971 Snap-on Tools catalog that I'm just going to go over real quick because, as I said before, I'm sending this catalog to somebody in the Big Six that I think would enjoy this catalog more than I would. Yes, I love Snap-on Tools. I'm not a collector of vintage stuff, so it's really cool to look through. I've seen some really neat stuff. So I just highlighted a couple of things to, to show you what I thought was interesting. So here we go. Kind of odd to look through this way, but yeah, 1/8 square drive socket set. How fucking cool was that? 1/8 inch square drive set. Never seen it before. Yeah, it's definitely different. And you could see the way they laid out their catalog is amazing back in 1971. I mean, really fucking cool. And let me see, since we're in the 1/4 inch section, if you guys are familiar with Hard Knocks Forge, he did a review on a Snap-on set that he bought. It was a 1/4 inch drive set that came in a tin container. And look at that. There it is. It would be the 136 TMB Midget Utility Set. 36 small tools to work on tiny jobs. And I was talking to him earlier, and he didn't know they made a bigger one. The 67 piece set. How cool is that? And look at this extension. I've never seen one like that before. And look, they even had, swivel sockets back in the day. But they called them Flexo sets. How neat is that? I think it's neat. And yep, they even had crowfoots back then. Of course, impacts. There's some 3/8 inch drive stuff. I mean, check out that ratchet. Isn't that fucking cool? I'm just going to flip through some pages and let you guys scope this all out. I mean, as we know, Snap-on's been making stuff to make technicians and do-it-yourselfers, shade tree mechanics like myself. I work on a lot of stuff, and yeah, I'm no certified mechanic by any means, but I get shit done. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's fucking cool as shit. But again, that's my opinion. Yeah, and like I said, look at that style of ratchet. I have not seen that style of ratchet. And this A, you take that and you put it on a breaker bar, and it turns a breaker bar into a 20-tooth ratchet. I think it'd be kind of bulky, but yeah. And like this adapter, you can put on the 1/2 inch drive ratchet, and it gives you the ability to spin it with your thumb drive, I think it's called. And there are no prices in this book. I really wish there were some prices, because shit, I think we'd all buy the books if we seen these prices back in 1971. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. And spline drives. I was told about spline drives. I've never really seen them. But yep, there's spline drives. There's an adapter to make spline drives, into a regular, I do believe that's 1/2 inch. And then you got your 3/4 inch drive stuff, and I'm not going to try to bore you too much. But I remember last night on Jay Young's live stream, we were talking about big sockets. Look at the size of this. 5 5/8 inch socket. Could you imagine how much that fucking socket would cost you today from Snap-on? If they still made it, I'm not sure if they still make it. I'm not up on what Snap-on produces these days. I've only bought what I needed from them. I don't have an account with them. You know, if I'm at a yard sale, you know, garage sale, whatever, flea market, and I see something cool from Snap-on I can use, I'll buy it. Really cool offsets and 6-point. You don't really see too many 6-point offsets. And check out the ratcheting wrenches they had back in 1971. I think that's cool. You know, chain wrenches. Yeah, I mean, Snap-on's been innovative forever. There's some metric 1/4-inch drive stuff, which, you know, there wasn't a lot of metric stuff back in the, you know, late 60s, early 70s. And definitely check this out. British Standard tools. Air conditioning, you know that's R12. That is most certainly not R134. I have to go back a little bit because they had something I did want to show you guys that I think I skipped over. I think it was on the same, yeah, there it is. 5/8 drive. I've heard it talked about. I've never seen it. I don't have any. I'm not a collector of vintage stuff. That's why I feel this would be better in the hands of somebody in the big six. Get back to where I was. Some cool toolboxes. Check out their creepers. Their creepers were wood. My fat ass would break that creeper. But I'm sure back then, if my fat ass would have broke that creeper, Snap-on would have replaced it. And they had like the swivel kind of casters on it. Not like the wheel kind that we have today. I mean, really, we have a lot of nice things that... Oh, and speaking of Hard Knocks Forge, does that remind you of Hard Knocks Forge? Fucking right it does. Check out them impact guns. Yep, and right there is an alignment machine. Definitely not digital. That would mean you'd have to think a lot more to get the job done correctly. I mean, there's so much in this catalog. It would take me hours upon hours to sit down and you know, honestly, I don't know enough about this older stuff to make it, you know, to explain it good enough. Like, you know, somebody in the big six would be able to. But, I mean, they had generator testers, you know, alternators, generators, and regulator testers. All this cool stuff. I mean, the cars were definitely easier to work on back in the day. And I'm saving the best one for last. The anal O-scope. I mean, I know that means, you know, for analogy. But yeah, definitely really cool. You can see that it gives you, you know, waveforms, but definitely not like we have now. But yeah, I really think this catalog is pretty freaking neat. And whenever I found it, you know, I bought it with the intent of sending it to somebody in a big six. You know, the stuff like this you just don't see every day. And this was so cheap to pick up, to, you know, send off to somebody that I think would really appreciate it. So, yeah, and then with this, I got this. How cool is that? Look at that old impact gun. But this cup is not as vintage as the catalog. I mean, from 1987. And who doesn't love the flannel shirt with the Daisy Dukes holding a impact gun? I mean, look at that hair. Doesn't that just scream Farrah? I was 6 years old whenever people were drinking beer out of this cup. Alright, guys. There's no beer in there for me. But I want to thank you for watching this video. And I'm hoping, you know, to the person that I sent it to in the Big Six, we'll go a little bit further in depth with this and explain a little bit more stuff that I cannot. And, you know, I hope it does them well on, you know, collecting older vintage Snap-on stuff. You know, so we can only guess who I'm sending it to because I have only told, I think, one person on who's getting this. So, yeah. You know, like, subscribe, comment. You know, take your guess on who I'm sending it to. I won't tell you. I hope they do. Alright, guys. Have a good day.